On this YouTube channel, we last took a look at the fleet of Virgin Atlantic in August 2024. At the time, the carrier had 44 aircraft in its fleet, while today it has 43. So in terms of quantity, we can see that not much has changed. However, the carrier has replaced some of its older jets with newer ones. And so in today's piece, we look at the composition of the Virgin Atlantic fleet in 2025, changes since our last Virgin Fleet video, and where all of these widebody aircraft are currently deployed. So, let's get started. As always, we begin with aircraft types and quantities as listed by planespotters.net. As of mid-November 2025, the carrier has 6 A330-300s, 8 A330-900s, 12 A350-1000s, and finally 17 787-9s. Virgin Atlantic has one of the simplest fleets out there as a network carrier. No, it's not quite as simple as budget airlines and their single-type fleets, but with just 3 types/4 variants, well, that's somewhat like Emirates on a much smaller scale. And what has changed with this fleet since August 2024? Well, we can see that the carrier took delivery of 3 A330-900s between August 2024 and December 2024. At the same time, it retired 4 A330-300s, 2 in August 2024, 1 in January 2025, and another in April 2025. For those curious about the fate of these now ex-Virgin A330ceos, we can see that 3 of the 4 were picked up by Thai Airways and are now registered Hotel Sierra Tango Echo X-Ray, Tango Echo Whiskey, and Tango Echo Victor. The 4th is operated by Spanish wet lease/charter outfit Vamos Air and is registered Echo Charlie Oscar Lima Golf. And so if you're flying any of these ex-Virgin jets and are wondering about the seating, well, this is why. Indeed, it looks like all 4 carriers have retained the seating configurations set by the UK carrier. As we just noted, the A330-300s are being gradually replaced, essentially one for one, by the A330-900. The current age of this sub-fleet is a little over 2 years old as more new airframes trickle in. In July 2024, the airline stated that it plans to have an A330neo fleet of 19. Adding to the existing 8, Virgin hopes to take delivery of 4 over the course of 2026. As we mentioned in our previous Virgin Atlantic video, the airline's goal is to have the following fleet composition by 2028. 45 next-generation aircraft comprised of 19 A330-900s, 12 A350-1000s, and 14 787-9s. With this plan, we can see that the airline already has its desired number of A350-1000s. Thus, with more A330-900s coming in, it looks like 3 787-9s will be retired from the fleet, likely when leases expire. Considering the carrier's 3 oldest Dreamliners were only delivered in late 2014 and early 2015, we're sure another carrier will be happy to pick up these aircraft. Clearly, not too much has changed with the Virgin Atlantic fleet. However, the carrier has made great progress in recovering from the pandemic. As reported in late March 2025, the airline had its first profitable full fiscal year since the pandemic. This saw it generate a profit before tax and exceptional items of £20 million, around $25.9 million, for the full year period ending on December 31, 2024. According to the carrier, a key catalyst on this front was a £183 million increase in revenue, which rose to a record annual total of some £3.3 billion in 2024. Commenting on the results, Virgin Atlantic CEO Shai Weiss stated, "Our performance in 2024 marked a big step forward in our mission to become the most loved travel company and sustainably profitable, with record revenues and operating profit achieved in our 40th year. We returned to profitability for the first time since the pandemic, repaid a large chunk of debt, and faced operational challenges by taking decisive action." Enjoying a post-pandemic travel surge like many others, Virgin Atlantic highlighted the fact that its passenger capacity grew by 7.6% in 2024, with, quote, continued demand for business and premium leisure travel. This is something that the carrier has responded to by launching, quote, unlimited availability reward seats for members of the Flying Club. And since we mentioned the name of the airline CEO, Shai Weiss, we should note that the airline announced in October 2025 who would be Mr. Weiss's replacement. The Virgin Atlantic board revealed its succession plan for the airline's chief executive officer, as after a successful 7-year tenure, Weiss will stand down as the head of the carrier, leaving the airline on December 31st, 2025. And so, Cornel Costa will become CEO effective January 1st, 2026. The airline explains in its media release that Costa rejoined Virgin Atlantic in 2019 as board member and chief customer officer, expanding his role to chief customer and operating officer in 2020. And so, what does Virgin Atlantic's network look like in late 2025? Well, it operates out of 2 UK airports, its main hub at London Heathrow and its secondary facility at Manchester Airport. At Manchester, A330-300s fly transatlantic to Barbados, as well as Atlanta and New York JFK in the United States. The airline's A350-1000s fly from Manchester to Orlando daily. And then, with Virgin's much larger operation out of Heathrow, we won't list all the destinations with all the aircraft types, but we can see that the A350-1000s are tasked with service to Orlando, New York JFK, Atlanta, Dubai, Lagos and Mumbai. The airline also deploys the A350-1000 to Delhi twice daily. The brand new A330-900s head to Barbados, Toronto, Riyadh, Boston, Miami, New York, Tampa, and on occasion, Washington Dulles. The airline serves LAX twice daily with the 787-9 and flies between Heathrow and JFK up to 5 times daily. Incredible. And while it's not exactly fleet or even strategic airline business news, we just had to show you some of this video of Virgin Atlantic flying a $5.3 million or £4 million Koenigsegg Jesko Absolute hypercar across the Atlantic for its US showcase. Virgin Atlantic Cargo arranged the move with its customer Prologist on behalf of renowned automotive influencer Zach's Garage. The Jesko Absolute completed its 5,000-plus mile journey across the Atlantic without adding a single mile to its odometer. And so that's the state of Virgin Atlantic in late 2025. While the fleet won't be changing very much over the next 5+ years, it's great to see its modernization goals moving slowly and according to plan. It will also be interesting to see if the carrier's new CEO will do anything differently than his predecessor. Whatever the case may be, we welcome Cornel Costa into his new role and wish Shai Weiss all the best in his future endeavours. What do you think of the current state of Virgin Atlantic? Let us know by leaving a comment. In addition to our daily YouTube videos, Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles and a podcast every week. Visit simpleflying.com.